It's Carmen again, and I'm so glad that you're back. We're going to talk today about what I consider to be the most important topic in the health coaching business today, and that is how to stay safe and have a low risk practice. Now, safety in the health coaching profession is something that I've been leading the way in this industry with for a couple of years now. And it was through my own concerns and worries about my own practice being safe and my own personal assets also being protected that I started to dig really deep into what it means to have a low risk practice. Now, let's just back up a little bit and look at the time in my life when I was health coaching and I was, just say, not practicing a real general approach. I feel like I had so much knowledge that I wanted to be able to share with each individual person what I thought would work for them individually, right? So every time that I got a new client, I created a new document, a new recommendation, a new suggestion page, a new food plan, and I was reinventing the wheel, so to speak, every single time. So what that looked like was it looked like I was practicing individualized health coaching, which is not within our scope of profession. Now, I am in a red state, so let's talk about the states for just a moment. If you haven't visited nutritionadvocacy.org yet and you are a health coach or you want to be a health coach, stop what you're doing right now, push stop on this video, go out and look up what color your state is. It is that important. And then bookmark the page because that is something that you need to constantly be returning to. So what you're going to see there is going to be the colors of the states will be anything from red, orange, yellow, and green. Now, green is the least restrictive state. There are no restrictions on what health coaches can say in a green state. But I always tell everyone, act as if you are working in a restricted state for a couple of reasons. Not only because it's erring on the side of caution, which is what I tend to do when it comes to the health coaching business, but also because you're setting up your business. You're creating flyers. You've got a website being designed. You're putting things in writing. What if you're doing all of that with the a belief that you're in a green state and then or yellow or orange state, and then the laws change overnight, and the next thing you know, you've got to go back and redo everything all over again. It can be actually a really costly mistake. So act as if you're in a restricted state from the very beginning of your business. And if you've already been practicing, don't worry because it's easy to just get somebody. This is a recommended action step. Get someone that is close to you, a friend or a family, to get on your website or get into your documents and do some reviewing and looking for specific words and replacing those words with safe words. So you don't have to redo everything completely. Just go in and have someone that's not you, because it's hard once you've created your own content to look at it objectively. But have them go in and use a list of the words that we need to be careful of, and I'm going to give those to you in just a moment, and make sure that those words are not in your written content. So those words would be diet, because that leans into the world of dietitians, nutrition, that leans into the world of nutritionists, which we're not either one of those, heal, prevent, cure, diagnose. Those are medical terms that we want to stay away from because we're not medical practitioners or doctors. So those are some words that I used to keep written up next to my desk, and anytime that I worked with a client, anytime that I created new content, I would refer to that list and I would make sure that I was getting into the habit of bringing those words and that language into my business. So don't worry if you're used to using words like diet or nutrition or statements like we're going to work on your nutrition first. I'm going to talk to you in just a minute about how you can safely replace those words with words that still mean the same thing but make more sense from a health coach perspective. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you can actually lower the risk just in a real simple way. One way to do that is to have a template of things that you would recommend to every single client. So it looks something like this. For me, I was, like I said, reinventing the wheel. So every day I would create that I had a new client that I would work with and I would know that needed recommendations. I would sit at the computer and spend an hour or more time creating these outlines of staying away from gluten and looking into this food and looking into that food and talking about soy and all of the things that I believed that they should be considering to change their life when it came to food. Now, I follow a primal lifestyle. I've found it to be probably 99% of my clients have found success with that, so that's what I recommended. But something came to me as I was sitting there one day working on another client's recommendations. I thought, this is exactly what I did for the last 5 clients or 6 clients. I don't remember the number exactly, but I was reinventing those recommendations because those are the things that I believed everyone should be following. And over time, I realized, you know what? There's 7 foundations of health that all of my clients have always needed to address in order to even get started on the path to wellness. And so, what I ended up doing was creating a template, a guideline that every single client would get. And that became my general approach. Now, I know you're thinking, but not everybody needs the same food and not everybody needs the same supplements. Of course, that's true because we're all different. But every human being needs the same foundational approaches to health. So we all need to be eating more whole food. We all need to be practicing better sleep hygiene and practices. We should all look at stress a little bit differently. I do encourage my coaches to talk to their clients about stress perception, not necessarily managing it or reducing it. I think that's very difficult. So I like to say stress perception. We should all be having more fun in our life. We should all look at unaddressed traumas if we're doing everything right and we're not getting anywhere. And then there's that element of spirituality and safe movement. Those are also important pieces of all human beings' health, right? So if we start with those foundations, that's a general approach because everyone needs it. Then we see what's left over. Where are people missing pieces of getting to where they want to be, right? So then we also have to let's step back just a moment and let's think about how do we provide that information to them in a safe way that doesn't seem like we're giving them individual custom nutrition advice or diet advice. So we replace words in our writing and in our language like diet with words like food plan or food choices. Maybe a client says to you, just tell me what to eat. I don't want to have to figure it out. Just tell me exactly what to eat. Well, we're not allowed to do that because we're not nutritionists, we're not dietitians. So what we might do is say, you know what, I know it's really frustrating to try and figure all this out. So I'm going to end that overwhelm for you right now. And I'm going to give you 2 options because I think 2 is a good number. Anytime someone gives me more than 2 options to make a decision that I'm going to be using to change my life, I get a little overwhelmed. But anytime that I've provided 2 options to my clients in the past, it's been pretty manageable. So and the examples that are in my food guide, which I created because I wanted to do a general approach, everyone gets the food guide when they work with me, is to do the paleo diet or the perfect health diet. Now, don't get stuck on those words because if you are a person who practices a vegan diet or I don't even know, a lacto-ovarian or whatever, I don't know. There's another word for vegetarian, but you know what I'm saying. Let's say you're that person, okay? You can change however you want to do this. You can change your approach. But for me, I say try the primal or the perfect health diet. Look at either one of those. Make a decision that feels good to you, and let me know which one you choose to do. So like I said, if you're a vegan, you want to offer, a full-on vegan diet or maybe a guide into the vegan diet, whatever it looks like for you, and give them a choice of those 2 things. Which one of these looks easiest for you? And the client's going to tell you, you know what? I'm really ready to go all in. I want to go paleo. I don't need the chocolate and the alcohol that the perfect health diet allows me to have a little bit of in my life. I want to go straight on into autoimmune paleo or something like that. You then say to them, that's great. Let me know what you need for support. So you see how we are able to still work on that custom piece, but we're not telling them what to do. We're not giving them a food list to choose from. We're not saying don't eat this, don't eat that, take this supplement, don't take that. We're giving them choices. And that's the important part about staying safe is that when you hand over the resources to that client and then you empower them and to make that decision, they are then accountable, right? They're accountable, not you. You're not the one that said, eat this. You're not feeding them with a spoon. You're telling them that these are some options that I think would be good things to look at for you in your life right now and the goals you're trying to achieve. Okay, so let's go back to the words again. Let's go back for just a moment and let's look at what safe language is. So safe language is not telling someone what to take as far as a supplement medication is concerned. It's not telling someone what to eat by giving them a list of foods and using words like diet and nutrition. It's not telling them what's wrong with them by looking at their labs and trying to diagnose them. We are using language that keeps us right in the neutral zone where we are not a doctor, we are not a nutritionist. We are not. We are also more educated than the regular public who just might hand out advice willy nilly because they've been on the Atkins diets or something like that. We are health coaches with experience, with knowledge, with the passion and drive behind what we're doing to share the information in a responsible way. So that also looks. Let's talk a little bit about. I want to say what it looks like to have an example of two clients. Okay, so we have Mary and we have Joe. Mary and Joe both have diabetes, and they are completely separate. They've come to us for help with how to manage their diabetes, or maybe not depend on insulin in their future. Okay, so they both have different goals also. So say Mary wants to lose some weight, and Joe wants to reduce his triglyceride number. Let's just say that. They're both dealing with type 2 diabetes. They both have different goals. Now, wouldn't they both benefit from having a whole food plan that is lower and refined carbs and starches and carbohydrates that are not good for them? Wouldn't they both benefit from that, right? So then you make that suggestion. Look, we're going to look at a whole food plan. I want you to consider the primal diet, the perfect health diet, or maybe you want to say to Mary, maybe you want to consider the ketogenic diet, and you say to Joe, maybe the low carb route would be best for you. Take a look at both of these options and see which one works for you. Whatever the goal is that they're trying to achieve, you can tweak things here and there and hand them different specifications on that and let them make their own decision. Or maybe you say to both of them, here's the low carb and the keto diet. Pick one of those. I'm sure both of them will be a good choice for you to consider when trying to manage your blood glucose and avoid being insulin dependent, right? So that's a general approach. They're two different people with the same problem with different goals, but both would benefit from those choices. That is the general approach. Okay, so there are all kinds of examples we can use with this. So let's do this. Let's talk for just a moment. Let's pick client A and client B. And let's say client A comes to us and they are dealing with some acne and some depression and digestive issues. Client B has rosacea, bipolar disorder, and maybe they're having some relationship problems and weight problems, right? Both of those clients are dealing with completely different issues. They're probably affecting their health in the same ways, where they might not be sleeping well. Maybe their food choices have changed. They're craving sugar. They're probably not motivated to exercise because they're fatigued. So client A and client B, very different problems, but both would benefit from the same approach. How can we help them in a low stress way optimize their sleep? How can we help them look at stress differently as something that might be able to serve them and help them benefit in their life? How can we help them to understand what whole food is and how the standard American diet needs to be shifted away from gradually? So both of them would definitely benefit from that approach. So let's look at it as if we weren't a coach that practiced a functional approach with a safe and low risk practice. Let's be that cookie cutter coach for just a moment, which we don't want to be, by the way. But let's just say you are that cookie cutter coach and those clients come to you. You might be that person that says, here's the elimination diet. You both need to be avoiding this food and taking these supplements to manage your blood sugar. Take 2 of these every day. Take 2 berberine or 2 chromium to manage your blood sugar. Or you need to heal your gut. So you need to go on the specific carbohydrate diet, and then here's your elimination food diet plan. You're going to heal your gut with this, and then you're going to come back to me in 4 weeks and let me know how you're feeling. Okay, so not only have we used words we're not supposed to, but we've probably completely overwhelmed the client with a plan that looks absolutely impossible because right now they're eating standard American food. Or we've overwhelmed our other clients with diabetes because maybe they're nervous about taking supplements and they're uncertain about what that means. And maybe they're on medication like metformin for their sugar and they don't know how that's going to cross-react. We have just stepped outside of the safe zone and into the very unsafe zone of cookie cutter health coaching. Now, the Institute for Functional Health Coaching teaches you how to not be the cookie cutter coach and how to stay out of that unsafe zone. For me, it is the most important topic. I can't talk about it enough. It is inserted into every lesson that I teach. It is inserted into every webinar, every training, every free training that I offer. All of my documents follow a safe approach, and it's how I work with my own clients today. I even talk this way to the point with my family and friends that I say, now, if this were me, right? If this were me, this is what I would do. And they're like, I know, you're not telling me what to do. It's funny, but it is so much a part of my life that I don't even say words like heal and cure in my own family, my little own circle of my husband and my son, because I don't want to get in the habit of using the words that might step outside of my scope. Okay, so beyond stepping outside of our scope, it's also one of those things when we are working with people that are very sick or are dealing with serious health problems, that they are going to grasp every last piece of hope they possibly can. So if we're using words like cure and heal, We're giving them hope. They're getting excited. Things are going to change, right? But what if they don't feel better within a couple of weeks? What if they start to even feel worse because they're going through what we can call Herxheimer reactions, where the die-off is making them feel worse from some protocol that they're doing or something. And then they get frustrated. And then they come back to us and they say, you said it was going to heal my gut. You said I would heal from this. I don't feel any better. I feel worse. And, not meaning to, they get aggravated. They get nervous. They get angry. And then guess who they direct that at? The person who said they could heal their gut. The person who said that they were absolutely going to cure the problem that they have. They're not going to turn around and direct that at the functional approach coach that knows that we can't make promises like that. We didn't tell them what to eat. We didn't tell them which diet to follow. We simply said, listen, this is something that might benefit you. I want you to look into it and see if it resonates with you. And then I want you to let me know what you choose to do so I can support you the best way that I can. Now, some people may think that that's, what's the purpose of a health coach if they can just go out and Google heal their gut or whatever. I can tell you there's so many reasons that a health coach is important in this area. Because have you ever been that person with a health problem and then typed it into Dr. Google, so to speak, and then, not having the knowledge that you need, wondered which one of these protocols would work best for you? Which one of these things is going to be the way for me to go? I wish someone would just step in here and hand me one of these things to look at, to focus on. That's how people feel when they go out and they try to figure something out. That's why they're looking for that outside reassurance and help and support, and that's what you are. We have the passion behind us. We have the knowledge to understand these things and pick them apart. And you know what? I like to say it's like having a 1,000-piece puzzle. When you're a client with all of these problems going on, chronic conditions, things that are painful to even think about trying to deal with because you don't know how. It's like having a 1,000-piece puzzle, shaking it into and then just throwing it on the table and then not even knowing where to begin. Now, a health coach is that person that sits down next to you and says, you know what? Let's start with this piece right here. And then you're going to help them pick that other piece up that goes with that piece best. And the next thing you know, that puzzle starts to come together, but the two of you are working on it together, right? It's not you putting the puzzles together and showing them the big picture. It's you saying, let's just work on this together a little piece at a time and helping them put it together in a less stressful way. So having a low risk practice, what does that mean for you as a health coach? If you're an existing health coach, maybe you're worried about this right now because you're seeing the trend in the industry that people are starting to get a little bit more nervous, right? Or maybe you're a new health coach and you're thinking, I don't even want to get started if I'm just going to get nervous and scared and worried. Having a low risk practice means having a system in place that works with every client, knowing what those safe and unsafe words are, knowing, that we are here to deliver information in a way that makes sense, but also to not be accountable for those decisions that client makes, right? We're here to support them and be enthusiastic about the changes and the things that they're seeing. And let me just say this, when they make the decisions and the choices to change their life or change their food or sleep better, the look on their face about the fact that they feel so empowered, I can't even explain it to you. I have seen clients that have literally been like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it was that easy to get better sleep just by turning my clock around. Or, oh my gosh, now that I'm shifting the idea that I don't have to get well overnight into the idea that this is a marathon, not a sprint, I feel less stressed already. You're able to bring a perspective into their life that is completely different from them having to go it alone or be handed a cookie cutter approach to health coaching. Okay? Safe health coaching means going to bed at night and laying down and knowing that you haven't said something that you have to worry about the next day. It's also knowing that you are still able to help people, but you're honoring, and this is important to me, those people out there, those dietitians, those nutritionists, those doctors and practitioners that have sunk thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into their education to be able to call themselves doctors and practitioners and dietitians and RDs and NDs and all of those things. We haven't done that, right? We haven't gone to that extent. And I just think it's important. And let me say it like this. When you get into your business and you've built a successful, thriving health coaching practice, and yet you walk into some GNC place and they tell someone they're a health coach and all they do is work at GNC, you kind of feel like it's a little slap in your face because you put a lot of work in and a lot of money and investment into your business too. And to find out that someone at Whole Foods calls himself a health coach because they work in the supplement aisle, you're like, really? I don't think so. Let me tell you what a health coach is. A health coach is an investigator into people's problems and gets underneath the reason why people don't feel well, and we help them dig into it, right? So how do you think a doctor or a practitioner or someone feels when they hear that a health coach is out there interpreting labs and diagnosing people with problems, or telling someone to follow a specific diet and not really having that training in nutrition and diets like dietitians and nutritionists do? Kind of a slap in the face to them too. So let's stay in our lane and let's practice in a way that makes sense, where we can all coexist in this industry, because we all have a place. Everyone has a place. Doctors, nutritionists, dietitians, practitioners, acupuncturists, even the GNC guy and the Whole Foods person in the supplement aisle. Everyone has a space to hold in the wellness industry. But what gets us in trouble is when we don't understand what lane we belong in. So I'm encouraging you to stay in that lane that you belong in as a health coach. Practice a safe and low risk method of health coaching that's general and has a system and keeps everything in line and gives your clients that accountability and makes them feel, committed to themselves, and that they're making decisions that feel good to them. If we were lucky in this world, there would be no need for health coaches or doctors in our future, because we've taught our clients exactly what to do to live a healthy lifestyle and how to get what they need and where they need to be with their goals, just basically by giving them all of those tools that they need. But we got to remember where we belong. So I hope that this was helpful. Practicing safety in the health coaching profession is super important to me. It's my number one priority. Like I said, I've been leading the way with this movement. I'm making sure that health coaches feel safe and low risk in their practice, and that we're all following that same protocol, because what I do as a health coach affects what you look like as a health coach. And what, I honestly want you to be practicing a safe way too, so that I can still look as credible as I am today. The boom is coming for health coaches, but we want to make sure that we have that safe approach so that people look at us like, what, there they are, those health coaches, they're making a difference in this world, and they know where they belong. And I know when I work with Carmen or Joe or anyone else, that I have someone that's watching my back and teaching me everything that they know from a safe approach. They're not giving me bad advice, and they're not scaring me with things like supplements and elimination diets, and they're allowing me to be in charge of my own life and feel empowered. So thanks for being with me today. I appreciate it. See you next time.